Hello Steelers, and welcome to this game of Chain of Command 2. This time we are going to go south and we're heading down to Italy and the Po Valley, and the fighting there in 1944-45. Fictional scenario just set around that time. I wanted to put the British on the table, but I also wanted to use my new to Chain of Command 2 Volksgrenadier formation as well, which is now in the German list. I bought a few figures quite a little while ago. I don't know when this video's come out, but it was probably like months ago by the time this video has come out, and I just wanted to use them really. So because it's a slightly different, fully automatic German unit, it's going to be slightly different. It's got two MG42s in there and a load of STG 44s in there as well, so quite a lot of firepower coming out of a very small unit. And as I say, I just kind of want to put a bit to try out some of these new scenarios as well. So the one that we're doing today is the delaying action, which is basically the Germans starting off in the centre or almost in the centre of the table, with the attacker coming down the long end to try to get an objective. So both of this has also got the ticking clock involved in it, and it also has the final countdown as well as part of it. There are no mortars. I'm not going to be using the mortars in this one because they're not allowed in this game, but yeah, it's quite a smallish force, because I think we only rolled I think it was something like 12 points for the British, so they ended up with 13 because of the difference in the platoon strengths. So it's actually only quite a small game, but what I'll do is, as always, I'll show you the table, I'll show you the figures that are involved, we'll do the patrol phase, and then we'll just crack on and see if the British can push through and get their way up the Po Valley. So here is our table with the British start line over here. I've got the patrol markers ready for in a second for when they kick off. The Germans are starting over here. One of these will turn into an objective as well as a jumping off point for the Germans later on, as one of their as they place them later. I'm not sure which it will be. It might just be this building here. We'll see what happens. So basically you've got a ridge across here which blocks line of sight, the road coming down, a few fields which do provide light cover if you're not moving, some hedges, and also some fences and a few trees and things providing light cover. So that's basically it. As I say, hopefully a typical representation of an Italian area in 1944-45. Right, let's have a look at the figures and see what we've got in there. Okay, so here are our two forces then. So for the Germans, the defending Germans, they've gone for a Volksgrenadier platoon, and this is made up of a senior leader with a rifle grenadier team, 3 men. They've also got 2 sections here led by a junior leader made up of 7 riflemen, each armed with an STG 44. So there's a lot of firepower. These get storm and steel bonus at close range, so that's going to be quite devastating if they can get up close to the British. They've also got 2 MG 42 teams, each of 4 men, and a junior leader as well. For their support, they have gone for a Pak 40 crewed by 5 men along with a junior leader. They've also gone for a sniper team as well, so I just thought that might be a bit of fun, see what happens. The attacking British, on the other hand, have got a junior and 2 senior leaders, so lieutenants and sergeants over here. They've got 3 sections, and these are made up slightly different from what they used to be. They have now got a 4-man Bren team crew and also a 6-man rifle crew, each led by a junior leader, a corporal. They now have a 3-man 2-inch mortar team, and they've also got a 2-man Piat team as well. For their supports, they've gone for a Churchill Mark IV and a Staghound, and they've also gone for a replenish point as well to give them a little bit more bang for their buck for the 2-inch mortar, because they only have 3 rounds of either Hi-Ex or smoke rounds in the mortar, so we'll probably want to be using that quite a lot to get those British forward. That's the forces, so let's do the patrol phase. Okay, that's our patrol phase finished, so let's just have a quick look. The Germans, they have put a jumping off point here. They've got another one in the farmyard itself over here. They have another one further at the back there as well, just as support. And then, as I said, we're going to be using the house as the fourth jumping off point for the Germans. British, on the other hand, they have one over here, right on the edge of the table, using American trucks for this. We've got another one here just behind the ridge itself there. And then the third and final one just by that road over there. Right, the British have got the higher force morale of 10, so they're going to get to go first. So let's crack on with that first turn. Right, so we're starting the game. The Germans are getting the first turn, so let's see what they get for it. Oh, first phase, should I say? Well, it's a double phase, and they've got a chain of command point. So that double phase gives the British another chain of command point, takes them up to 4. The Germans have also got a 1 and a 3. Now, there's nothing on the table at the moment, so I don't really want to put anything on the table at the moment. So they're defending, so we're just going to hold actually, but we're going to take the next phase and see what happens with that. So it might build up their chain of command point. Well, it has done. It's built up their chain of command points by another 3, so that takes them up to 4. So they're 4 for 4 at the moment, and we got 2 3s. And again, I don't want to do anything with that because there's no British attackers on, so I don't want to give away the hand at this point. So we'll go now switch over to the British and their first phase. So they've got double 5 as well, so that takes them up to a full chain of command dice, which is very useful. And they've got a 6 and a 1 and a 2. So the 6 does nothing on its own, but the 1 and the 2 is reasonably useful, I think. And I think I know what I'm going to bring on. Very simple move here for the British. They've converted that 2 and the 1 into a 3 and used it for a junior leader for the Churchill for a bit of heavy support. Now, they come on, they have a start point, which is the road, but there's nothing to say, and you move on from 6 inches within that. There's nothing to say in the rules that it can't be off the road, but within 6 inches of it, so that's what I've done. A lot of the time, we probably usually bring on tanks on the road itself, but this time, I'm bringing it on the fields so I can get over this ridge and then lay down some fire on that German objective, I think. Right, back to the Germans phase. Just forgot to mention there as well that the Churchill is actually on Overwatch, put on there by the junior leader in charge of it. Right, Germans, right, they have another chain of command point, takes them up to 5. And they've got 3 4s and a 1. So it's a team. Really, the only team they could bring on is the sniper or their Pack 40. They don't want to yet because there's no point. May as well just hold on and just see what happens. As I keep saying, if you're not on the table, you can't be shot, and also you don't know where the attack is coming from just yet. Right, so let's jump on over to the Brits, see what they get for theirs. Another 2 chain of command points for them, so we're building these up. These are going to be very, very useful. And they've got a 1, a 2 and a 4, so that's again a reasonably useful number of things. Righty, so the British have used their 2 to deploy a section over here. They've gone tactical on this behind this hedge, so that's gone from light cover up to hard cover. That was a 2. They have also moved the tank forward 1 as well, using the 1. In Chain of Command 2 you can now use 1s on your command roll to activate individual crews, so you can do it with the junior leader or you can do it as an individual. So they basically activated the driver and he's just moved forward, and they've come forward a steady speed at 10 inches. Okay, on with the Germans, see what they get. Okay, so they got a 5, that's a chain of command point, takes them up to 6 in total. And they've got a 1, a 2 and a 3 and a 4. A little bit of everything. Do they want to do anything? Is the question. No, we've got a British unit sitting on tactical on their left flank. I'm quite happy to let them sit there because they've got to cross the hedge and it's going to take a while to get across. They've got that tank closing in, but I want to get it a bit closer before I spring some kind of ambush on it. So we're going to wait. We're going to wait. So we're going to drop in the British now for their next phase. And we'll see. Oh, they've got a double phase. Right, that gives the Germans a chain of command point automatically. They've also got one there as well, so that gives them another chain of command point there. So that takes that up to, they're now on 9. And then they've got 2 4s, so that's reasonably useful. So it might be, I might get the sergeant out to turn those guys into, maybe put them on Overwatch. That's about all they can do, I think. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'll just do this quickly now off camera, so I'm right next to it. Basically, their sergeant is going to come, join the guys behind the hedge, put them on Overwatch, and then I'm going to leave it at that because there's nothing else I can do with that other 4. So I'm just going to roll this. I'll show you that in a sec, and we'll go straight on to the next phase. So we've got 6 on its own doing nothing. They do have another 5 though. It's another chain of command point, takes them up to 4, and they've got a 2 and also 2 3s. So that's a section and 2 junior leaders. That's pretty useful, I think, again. Okay, the Brits are arriving in force. So we've moved forward using one of the 3s, the Churchill. As I said before, the sergeant appeared, put these guys on Overwatch, so they're now covering the German jumping off points over here if anything happens. I've also brought on, using a 2, another section over here. They've gone tactical. And what I'm trying to do is, this is the base of fire. These guys are going to try to work their way down towards the objective. They're supported also by a staghound, which has also come out as well using the 3. May as well use what resources we got. So there's quite a lot already on the table. But it's over to the Germans, see if they react to this or not. Right, so it's the Germans phase. Let's see what they do with their dice. Okay, we got a 1, a 1, a 2, a 2 and a 3. So again, a good spread, but don't think I really want to do a huge amount with that lot because, like I say, I'm just kind of happy to wait. It's going to take the British quite a while to get across to any of their jumping off points, so they're pretty secure at the moment. What we're going to do is we're going to play the ticking clock, and they are spending a chain of command dice, a full dice, and that will reduce the British force morale by 1 automatically. So again, something new for chain of command 2 is you can actually force your opponent's hand. So we'll go straight back to the British with their new force morale level now. Right, they have got 3 6s, which ends the first turn. I'll talk about that in a second. They've got a 5, which gives them a chain of command point. The Germans, because they're returning the phase, the Germans also get a chain of command point. The Germans are going back up to 2. Now, at the end of the second turn, the Germans can start the final countdown if they like, by spending chain of command points to basically towards the end of the game, and they will win because they're in. Well, they will hopefully win because they're in charge of the objective at this point. So that is something to consider. So we've ended 1 turn. So at the end of the next turn, so the end of turn 2, we're in turn 2 now. At the end of the next turn, the Germans can then actually start that procedure. But the British over here, we've got a 5 and a 4. 4 is a senior leader. 5 does nothing on its own. The senior leader, there's only got a sergeant out at the moment. I'm kind of wanting just to wait a little bit, I think, to bring out their other senior leader. So I'm going to do nothing at the moment with that, because he's on Overwatch. I don't want them to move at the moment. I want them to stay where they are. I want to get the other unit moving forward, so we'll go straight on to the next phase for the Brits. 2 more chain of command points for them. Wow, we are racking these up, so that gives them 2 full chain of command points. Chain of command dice, should I say, plus an extra one, so that's 13 at the moment. 6 on its own does nothing, but they've got a 2 and a 1. So that's useful because it means they can activate either of their vehicles with their driver and also a section as well, which I think is what they're going to do. Right, I had a quick think about this, and what I've done is I've used a 1 to deploy the 3-inch mortar, and that's over here. I've also then used the 2, I'm going to fire with this in a second, and then I've also used the 2 to advance these guys into the woods as well, trying to get up to that hedge line at the back there. So again, they can leapfrog their way down to the towards the objective. But first of all, we're going to fire some smoke like the British should do. Right, so what they're doing is they're firing a 3-inch ball of smoke. The British mortars do fire smoke. Slightly different now in Chain of Command 2 in that they only have 3 rounds of smoke, but they can actually form a smoke screen if they land them within 6 inches of each other. So it causes a continuous smoke screen. This is what they're planning to do. What I want to do is basically block off the Germans jumping off points from seeing any British moving up here, or at least make it harder for them to hit. So this is where they are aiming. This is their aiming point. What we do is we roll the dice, and it's slightly different again back to what he was in Chain of Command 1, so it's worthwhile reading this, and we just roll the dice and just see what happens. So we're looking really for a 5 or a 6. They are out of line of sight, so they might not hit where they want to hit. It's a 1. The round lands 6 inches to the left, so 6 inches to the left of where it is firing from is over here, which I guess is not bad. But what they could do, if they land another smoke somewhere in here within 6 inches of this one, it will form a continual line of smoke, so it's still pretty useful. Right, so Germans, see what they get up to. Right, they have a double 6, so they give the British another chain of command point, not that they really need them. They get one themselves with their 5, so that takes them up to 3 as well, useful. Then they've got a 2 and a 4, so that's a section and a senior leader. It's not particularly useful for what they want to do, I don't think. But they do have the next phase. No, I don't want to bring out a section because that's just going to bring all hell down onto them at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to go straight onto the next phase. What I'm looking for really is a 1 to get the sniper out. Now there's British targets, or even maybe that pack for the 40, so I can try and hit that Churchill. But let's just see what we get. Another chain of command point, which is nice, always useful, and they've got a 1, a 2 and 2 4s, so that again is pretty useful. So that is, well, they could, yeah, let's get the sniper out, why ever not. So the Germans have deployed the sniper. You probably can't see him, he's over here quite close to the jumping off point, and he's going to take a shot at these chaps behind the hedge, hitting on a 3 up, and then hits as though he's in the open. With a chance, a 2. There's no point talking anymore. A 2, he's missed. Alright, over to the British. Let's see what the Brits get. Okay, again, a pretty good spread there. They've got a 1, 2 4s and 2 3s. So that is a team, 2 junior leaders, 2 senior leaders. So first things first, the British are going to pop off more smoke with their mortar. It's going to come in here and it's going to be 6 inches away from this one, so if it lands where it is, then it will form a continuous line of smoke between the two. So let's see where it goes. It's a 6, so that has landed on target. So that then, as I say, now also forms that bank of smoke. We're only getting a -1 firing through these, but at least it's something, isn't it? So we've got smoke down, so that's the 1. Next we're going to use a 4, and the senior leader over here is instructing one of his men to throw a smoke grenade over here. That's the aiming point. This is very simple. He has to do it with an order, so literally all we're going to do is get them to throw the smoke grenade, and it goes this many inches, so it's 4 inches towards that aiming point. It was from this bloke here, so it basically lands there instead, but it still covers some of the area they want, so we've got quite a lot of smoke kicking about already. And then finally, using the 2 3s, the British have brought forward this section up against the hedge to line the hedge up here, and also the staghound as well. It just got to the edge of the road up there, but that's it for the Brits. Okay, over to the Germans. Let's see what they get. They've got a double 6, so it retains the phase, gives the British another chain of command point, and they've got a 5, so they get one themselves, takes them up to 5, and they've got a 1 and a 4. So sniper once again, perhaps, and also senior leader. Not that they can really do much with that, but I think the sniper will go for it. Okay, so the sniper is firing once again over here. Now let's see if he hits on a 3 up. 2, no, he's missed. Now the British can observe. I did this before, but I did it off camera and they didn't do it. They've only got 1 unit now on Overwatch because the other one threw a smoke grenade. So they've got the rifles on Overwatch, so they can try and spot the sniper. They need a 6 to do so. They tried to spot him before, so it actually is a 5 or a 6 now. Let's see. It's a 2. No, they haven't spotted him, but they do remain on Overwatch. Right, back to the Germans again then. We're looking for some good rolls, really. Well, that might be it. Right, they've got 5. Chain of command point gives them a full chain of command dice. Then they've got 3, 3, 3 and 3. So that's 4 3s. Which is 4 junior leaders. They do have a pack 40 that's got a junior leader attached. I don't know if it's time to bring that out or to let that Churchill get a bit closer. God, again, it's so difficult because the British are being a bit cagey, so I'm going to wait. I'm going to leave it. But they're going to spend a chain of command points, dice, and bring down the British morale. Down to 7. Ouch. Right, so we'll go back to the British. May as well spend those ticking clocks. Really sort out the Brits there. They could have ended the turn actually, I thought about it, but no, I've made my choice there. They could have ended the turn and then started the final countdown. But anyway, let's crack on with this. So we've got another chain of command point for the British there. They don't have a double phase, but they do have a 1, 2 2s and a 4. So a pretty good grouping there, I think. Right, so the British are going to deploy more smoke using the 1 with their mortar. It's going to fire over here and then hopefully form a line across there. So we just need to roll again to see where it is. And it is a 5, so that has hit. So again, that has formed a smoke line across there, which is very useful because they wanted to move their section over the hedge. So that's these guys here. They can only do it at a normal move, and you take off the lowest. And see, they've gone 8 inches, but we take 3 off, so they've actually come 5 inches over that hedge. So they're on the other side. I'll just sort these out in a second. Right, what we've done here is the British have moved forward this section over the hedge behind the smoke. They've also then spent a chain of command dice, and they've actually brought forward their jumping off point from over here. It has to be 6 inches back from the troops that they're moving behind some troops, friendly troops. So it's about 6 inches behind, and this is about as far forward as I could get it for 18 inch. Now I could deploy from here a 3rd section. I'm actually going to wait because the plan is I want to get these a bit further up to the farm, and then I could also jump the jumping off point a little bit further forward over here to then jump into the farm rather than having to cross the table again. So I'm just going to hold off with it. I did think about it. Still got a 2 and a 4 left, but I don't think I'm going to do anything with those. We've used up our smoke grenades down on the right flank. There's not a huge amount else. I think actually I'll get the sergeant. He will put the other unit on Overwatch, and that's it. So yeah, the sergeant has basically put the rest of his platoon back on, his section back onto Overwatch, and we're just going to go on to the Germans. Right, so they got 2 5s, 2 chain of command points, very useful, and they got a 1, a 2 and a 2. So again, there's a lot of smoke kicking about. At least they can use that 1 to fire at the British with a sniper, and they're hoping if they can end a turn, that would be pretty interesting, I think. So the sniper firing over here again at the British. Let's just see if he hits. He has finally hit, so let's see what that is. It's hitting as in the open, so 5 6 is a kill, 3 4 shock, and it's a 6, it's a kill. Now he get 1 or a 2 and it's actually hit one of the leaders. So let's see, because he's a sniper, he's better. No, so it's just hit one of the blokes. So we'll take a rifleman off here. First casualties to the Germans. But this then means that the British now get to try and spot back with Overwatch. These are on a +2 now to spot. These ones are straight back to normal, so we'll try with these on a 6 first of all. This is the LMG team. They've spotted him, so they can fire immediately. So we're going to try and do that. So that's 6 dice. So checking the distance there, it's actually just over close range. So we basically need 5s and 6s to hit him. He's in light cover, but it's a box LMG. Let's see. So we've got 1, 2 hits. There's no storm or steel bonuses on this, so 2 hits on that sniper from the LMG. And if it is a kill result, it's in light cover, so a kill result is a 6, 4 5 is shock. It needs kill results just to get rid of it, so we're looking for 6s here. Let's see, 3 and a 3, no, misses. So we are going to fire then again with the rifles. Oh sorry, I'm going to try and spot with the rifles, and they've got a +2 this time, so we're looking at a 4 5 or a 6 to spot them. Yes, they've spotted them. So they are also firing as well. They were on Overwatch, they're coming off Overwatch, and they are same again. They are hitting, there's only 5 of them, they're hitting on 5s and 6s. Yeah, same again, 5s and 6s. We got 1 2 3 hits, no 5 rounds rapid this time. That's 3 hits on the sniper. Once again, 6 are kills, and now we'll get rid of him. And 6 killed him, got rid of the sniper. So that is automatically a bad things happen for the Germans. So it is a supporting unit breaks or is wiped out. So let's just see what we get for that. It's a 5. That is 2 points off the Germans' force morale. Ouch. Right, the Germans didn't want to do anything else with the rest of theirs. Kind of waiting for the end of the turn, really, more than anything else. Right, British. Right, the British have ended the turn. So That gives the Germans 3 points. This is the end of turn 2. So the Germans, if they want, well, if they can trigger the final countdown. The British get themselves another chain of command point, takes them up to 5, and a 3 as well, which is that's a junior leader. I think I know what I'm going to do with that. Right, the British have gone at the double with this section down to here. The junior leader has knocked off one of the shock that they took, so the rifles have got shock. They got right down to the fence line here, behind and pretty much under the smoke. Just moved that to show you. And they've also as well closed down this German jumping off point over here. They haven't closed off the one in the actual German objective yet, but they are getting close. The plan is jump that fence, then drag forward another chain, another jumping off point, and that's their plan for the next turn. So, well, it's the next phase. Right, it ends a phase, ends a turn, should I say. So all this smoke will now disappear, annoyingly for the British, because it took them so long to put it down. So we'll get rid of that, and then everybody will come off Overwatch. Actually, nobody's on Overwatch anyway, but we'll go on to the next British phase. Right, so now it's a bit tricky because the Germans can actually trigger the final countdown in their phase if they like. Well, the British retain the phase actually, so that gives them Germans another chain of command points, and they've got 2 3s and a 4, and they've got 2 there. That again is pretty useful for what they want to be doing. Right, in the British phase, a number of things have happened here. Right, first of all, they have replenished their mortar, and then that's going to fire over here. We'll do that in a second, but first of all they moved a section over here, so they're on this jumping off point for the Germans now. They have also then spent a chain of command dice, brought forward that jumping off point again, and used another 3 and a 4 to get their other senior leader and junior leader out onto behind this farm here, because they have got a second phase as well. They're still going to try and get into the objective. They haven't done it yet, but we're almost clearing this this little village out at this point. But let's just see if we can get this mortar to land where it needs to. So we just rolled the dice, and we got a 4. It lands 6 inches short of the aiming point, so 6 inches back is around about there. We've also, as I say, we've replenished the mortar now, so it has 3 more shots again. I did think about the British triggering the final countdown. They've got enough chain of command points to do it. It only costs 3, but it means that they would have to get into the objective within the next 8 phases. So what they want to do is actually get into the objective and hold it, and then trigger the final countdown. So let's go and see what happens. 6 on its own does bugger all for them. They've got 4, a 4, a 2 and a 3, so pretty useful spread again, but they don't retain the phase unfortunately for them. Right, so the British have pretty much, what they've done is they moved forward this section with their senior leader. They didn't get into the objective unfortunately for them, they couldn't just make it, but they are quite close now, and it has closed it down as a jumping up point. These ones went tactical using the 2 just in case. The sergeant over here put these guys back on Overwatch, and then we also moved forward the Churchill as well. So that's all that's happened in this phase, but it's over to the Germans, and let's see what they do. Okay, it's the Germans' turn. Let's see what they do. Alright, we got a 1, a 2 and 3 3s, so that's very, very useful for what I was hoping to do. Okay, all hell is about to break loose. Right, the Germans have deployed with a 3 one of their Sturmgewehr assault squads, and they are just going to fire at these units here in the courtyard. Right, each of these have got 2 firepower dice, there's 7 of them firing. They've also got the Storm of Steel bonus, so every 6 gets a re-roll as well because they're close range. They just get this automatically. Pretty nasty stuff. So let's see how many hits those Brits take. Hitting on 4s up. I can see a lot of boxcars in there. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 normal hits. So just put those there to remind me. Then we've also got 1, 2, 3, 4 Storm of Steel hits, so they get to re-roll, and these again hit on 4s up. So the 6s will carry on going if they keep going. Right, so that's another normal hit, and then also 2 more Storm of Steel hits. Right, so we're down to the other 2, so let's just see, and then we got another hit out of there. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 hits in total on those British. The British are in the open, so the Germans actually get to decide where those hits are going to go. So they're going to hit on, they're going to take 7 hits on the LMG team. So these are killing on 5s and 6s, shocking on 3s and 4s. So we've got 1, 2 kills and 3 shock. This is just on the LMG team. Then they've got 6 hits on those rifles. Ouchie ouch, that's 3 kills but no shock on the rifles. So that is in total 5 kills. So 2 are on the, well let's, right, we've got to roll first of all for junior senior leader hit. So we'll roll for that. 1 to 5, one of them has been. It tells me one of them has been. 1 to 6 junior, 4 to 6 senior. It's the senior leader, and what has happened to him? He's been killed in action. Okay, that is immediately a bad thing's happen. Senior leader killed for the British. We'll roll for that first of all. That's a 3. That's 2 points off the British force morale. Takes them down to 5. Ouchie, ouchie, ouchie. And the Germans could maybe trigger the final countdown at this point. But let's just carry on going. Right, so we've killed a senior leader. Let's take that guy out. And then we've also lost 2 from the LMG team. So that's 2 there. And then we've also lost another 2 from the rifle team as well, and taken 3 shock in total there. We haven't finished yet because the British are now coming off Overwatch over here, and these are going to fire at those Germans in their rear. They're in light cover because they are actually in the cornfield. These are hitting on 5s and 6s because of the range. They're just over 18 inch away. So let's see what we get for that. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. There's no Storm of Steel bonus on these. 6 hits. This is one team basically in the Germans in there, so it's 6 hits across them. They're in light cover. 6 is the kill, 4, 5 is shock. They've got 1 kill and no shock. Is it the junior leader? No, it isn't. So they've only lost 1 rifleman, but ouch for everybody. Well, what started as a nice walk in the country has ended pretty badly, so we're going to go on to the next 3. This is a junior leader with the Pack 40. That's going to come out, and that is going to blast this Churchill over here. So it is hitting on a 7, but the commander is activating the gun with 2 orders, so that gives him a +1, so it's hitting on a 6 up because it's slightly obscured. So let's see, 6 up. That's a 10, so that is a hit. The 6 is an extra damage on it, so it goes from having an AP of 9 to 10 against the Churchill's armour of 8. So 5s and 6s are also hits on saves, depending on which it is. So let's see what we've got. There's a couple in there that are cocked, so I'll just re-roll those quickly. Let's see that they're both Germans, but let's see, we've got 1, 2 saves by the British so far, and we've no, 3 saves by the British, and we've got 4 strikes so far. I've got to do the re-roll on these ones, the rest we can just ignore those. So far it's 1 net hit, but let's see if these are also strikes as well. So yeah, 2 5s, so that gives them a total of 6 net hits. 6 hits against 3 saves, so that is actually 3 net hits. That is destroyed the tank. We need to see if it blows up or not. We roll the dice, 5 or a 6, and it does. Yes, it does, it explodes. It's knocked out and the leader is killed. Any infantry team within 4 inch take 1d6, there isn't any. Take a force morale test for the loss of an AFV support with a +1. So we don't roll separately for the leader, the British just take a +1 test on their force morale loss. AFV destroyed. That's a 6, that becomes 7. Oh, ouch! That's 2 points off the British force morale. God, that drops them down to 3. Is it time for the Germans to trigger the final countdown? Maybe, maybe not. Right, let me just have a little think. Right, what the Germans have done here is they've used another 3 to basically activate this unit. They have piled into close combat in the rear of this British unit here. Now in Chain of Command 2 you can also drag in other units that are within 4 inches of you, so the British are doing that. They could have fired at them, but they needed a clear line of sight to fire. They didn't have it, so they get dragged into it as well. What has happened though is because they've been hit in the rear, it is half the dice of the British, so they've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whereas the Germans have got, because they've got assault rifles, they've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, so 17 v 10. If the Germans don't win this, then things will look bad for them, but they're going to try and do it. So what we're looking for is 5s and 6s. 5s cause shock, the 6s kill, so that's slightly different in Chain of Command 2 as well. So let's just roll them up, see what we get. Okay. Wow, so after all that we've basically killed 1 of each, on each side, but the Germans have also caused 2, 4, 6 shock on the British, which I'll spread out across the different teams. That means that the Germans have actually won by 6, which is a 4+ win. We've got to check to see if a leader is killed within that. They have got 2 leaders in there, so they are going to remain alive. But let me just double check if both the German and the British leaders are the ones that are hit, and then we can go on to the rest of it, the outcomes. So we're looking for a 1 on each. No, so it's just one fella from each of these. I'll take one rifleman from there. Okay, this is not going to be good. Right, and as I say, the British have now got 6 shock spread amongst those 4 teams. I'll do that in a second, but they have been defeated by 4. So if no leader remains alive or unstunned, the unit will surrender. They do have leaders alive. If the loser has an active leader, they break and retreat 18 inches away from the enemy, ending their movement facing away from the enemy. Add 3 points of shock on each losing team. Take then a force morale test for the unit breaking, even if the shock does not double the amount of remaining figures. So there's actually 2 units in there, so that's going to be 2 break tests on those poor British. Let's see. That's a 5 and a 2. 2 points off for the 5 and 1 point off for the 2, so that's 3 points off the British. That has actually dropped their force morale to 0. The Germans still are still in charge of that objectives, so they've actually just won the game by that ridiculous attack. But let me just brew you the British and we'll talk about what has just happened. So that was a pretty bad outcome there for the British, wasn't it? Right, there are the victors, and the spoils are over here. These guys have run away 18 inches. Like I say, I put the shock on them. Only one of these sections was actually pinned, but the other one is pretty close to. Both running away. We've also got the burnt up Churchill as well over here. The one unit that they took some sniper damage over here, so they took a bit of hammer as well. We actually only lost a few figures. I think the Germans have lost 2, not including the sniper. The British have lost 5 in total, but one of those was their senior leader as well, who was shot to bits down here. Now, until the Germans appeared over here, it was all going pretty well, I thought, for the British at least. They were doing firing manoeuvre and also, smoker manoeuvre and getting across, but it was that basically not checking their flanks, I think, was the problem, wasn't it? And not shutting down that jumping off point. They really should have sent a team out there, and I didn't think about it. But that's my own fault, and that is why they got a kicking from those German Volksgrenadiers. So the Germans have cleared out the jumping off point. They are still they still retain that objective, so they have arguably won this game, especially since the British force morale is right down on 0. They didn't have a chain of command dice to get rid of one of those force morale tests, so they are straight down to 0. I don't think it would have gone much longer anyway, because the Germans still had another 2 and a 1 left, you can see there. And what I would have done is probably produced their 3rd and final section, which was the MG42, which probably would have come from one of these 2 jumping off points and then shot up these as they were running away. So I'm not going to play that out, obviously, but that was probably going to be the next plan. So yeah, a nice walk in the countryside has ended in disaster for that British attack, but hopefully that has shown you a few of the things that you can do with Chain of Command 2, some of the bits and pieces, some of the smaller subtle differences that are in there, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have, please do hit the like and subscribe, leave me a comment, let me know what went on there, and if you enjoyed it, and if you're looking forward to getting some Chain of Command 2 on the table yourself. And I'll see you in the next Storm of Steel video.